You really shouldn't go look it up. It was an okay show, but not like, oh, I got to go watch it. Where's Drew Brees, please? There he is, live from La Jolla, the multi-million-dollar compound. It's about the size of Hampton Inn. Mr. Drew Brees. Mr. Drew Brees. Coming up on Sports Talk, Brees talking about returning to the Saints as a player. Dude, I think he can still play. That is incorrect. Both things are incorrect. It is a wet and rainy Monday afternoon. Tomorrow, kind of the same forecast, sadly. But, I don't know, 65 to 75 all week. Nice March weather. The Sewage and Water Board says, I think they're testing Turbine 4, the one that's from 1915. That's when I had the old Victrola going. Got the old Model T cranked up. I jammed the crank in the front of the Model T bumper, and Granny almost ran me over. We listened to the Victrola. And later I had old Bessie the horse help me with the plow. We did the whole back 2 acres. Old Bessie. And just for poops and giggles, we took the horse and buggy into town instead of the Model T. Oh, look, there goes Turbine 4. Anyway, Turbine 4 is getting tested again, 1915, trying to milk that bad boy for a little over a year and a half, sometime mid to late 2025. Turbine 4 and Turbine 5, which is almost 70 years old. Late 50s, the late 50s. Anyway, those two that power up the 25 hertz pumps, those will be shut down. This substation will go into full effect. They'll convert the 60 hertz power, today's power, to 25 hertz for about half or so of the pumps on kind of in New Orleans proper. I don't think any in the East run on 25 hertz, and no West Bank pumps in Algiers run on 25 hertz, like half the pumps in Orleans Parish proper do. And as they break and go out, they're replaced by 60 hertz pumps. But still probably 10, 15, 20 years away from having no 25 hertz pumps at all. Will be, but at least converting the power from a substation on site. By the way, here's the real kicker. Bringing up the old Victrola and Turbine 4, it's steam powered. It's steam powered. Like heat water, produce steam, spin wheel. Seriously. Like, I'm not kidding you. Turbine 5, nearly 70 years old. That's like gas powered. And Turbine 6 is like from '08. It's like a jet engine. Seriously, like a General Electric jet engine. That's gas powered. Turbine 4 is steam powered. We're steam powered. Roll, wheel, roll, spin, baby. Jeez. That's mind blowing. That'll all be like a museum. They're not like dismantling or moving it. We're bringing in new turbines into this building. No, they just build a new building like the Army Corps did with Turbine 6. Built a brand new building from the ground up, stuck a General Electric jet engine in the middle of it, and that's the turbine, essentially. Shouldn't say essentially, that is the turbine, a modified General Electric jet engine. No, the other two turbines, 4 and 5, they will just make that like an on-site sewage and water board museum. I used to go there when I was a little tot, not like used to, went once or twice, first grade, second grade, third grade, some time like 50 years ago when I was a tot, had a field trip to the sewage and water board. I remember these huge catfish, 3, 4, 5 feet, just piled in a corner of one of those big ponds where they were bringing in the agua from the Mississippi before they treated it. Lots of treating. You know, Joe, if you ever like see like an old pool that's just neglected for years, it's just black water, they don't drain that and refill it. They treat it. Now, you might drain, so let's get as much as we can out, but some pools in New Orleans will pop out the ground without any water in them because of the water table. So they might drain half and fill up and drain it again. But basically, a lot of folks, you're just treating that water. And that's New Orleans drinking water. Have a great day, everyone. Pretty much. I mean, the swimming pool just gets kind of nasty on its own. We're draining like 42 states and some Canadian provinces, and a lot of other folks just dumping stuff in that river, whatever, tossing stuff in that river, polluting that river. We clean it up and we drink it. It's some of the finest drinking water. Hey, the city council reportedly has not heard from Mayor LaToya the Destroyer Cantrell, Junket Cantrell, a deadline for her to bring a timeline to the council. Hey, y'all, going to take me X amount of time to get out of that Pontalba, you know. The deadline for a timeline of leaving the apartment and turning over the keys was noon today. JP Morrell says, clear out her belongings and turn over the key by Monday. That's this Monday. Got to be out by March 11th, 1 week from today. Or they're changing the locks. They're changing the locks. And you'll watch one of these, you know, what is it, the Storage Wars show? LaToya Cantrell stuff from the Pontalba in there. Wow. The U.S. says Israel has agreed to the framework for a Gaza ceasefire. It's in Hamas's, it's in the terrorists' hands now. Talks going on, taking place in Egypt, international mediators. It would be a 6-week ceasefire, which would cover all of Ramadan. Ramadan, the holy month for Muslims, starts this Sunday for a month. Fasting from sun up to sunset, and they got it down to the exact time. They got it down to the exact time. Like, I'm not kidding you. Someone might start eating, I'm just making up that, like 7:15 in Orleans Parish, and because the sun's setting in the west, it's 7:16 in Kenner, like a minute later, and I am not joking. I'm not. They're just very regimented on it. Hey, I'm Catholic. You know, I'm Christian. I believe in Jesus. December 25th. So cut our Muslim brothers some slack. If you're like, well, a minute later, yeah. Some it's like any other religion. Some folks follow it very strictly, some a little looser. The Supreme Court ruled former President Trump can appear on the Colorado ballot. I don't know, just advice to Democrats. I would chill on all that. Let like the natural vote, let the games take place. I think Trump can't get votes out of a state. I think that just helps Donald Trump. I mean, I don't know what hurts Donald Trump. I don't know what hurts Donald Trump. So if I were Democrats or liberals, I would just kind of leave well enough alone to act after the election. It's like you win with your team or you don't. I was in Crescent City Steaks. This old guy comes in. I was just like, look, I was with a buddy of mine. I was like, it's the president. And then I was like, no, that dude moves a lot better than the president. He doesn't shuffle and kind of. Anyway, not really great choices come November. Not our greatest choices. Vote for the oldest president or the second oldest president. Jeez and Pete's. Their choices we're making, a multi-billion-dollar diversion, the Mid-Barataria diversion project. It's on hold right now, I think temporarily. I think it's going to be green-lighted. A guy I've had on this program before, a lot of you know him, Capt George Ricks, fisherman, knows South Louisiana, the waterways, the Barataria Basin, as well as anyone. He's against these diversions. I'm pro-diversion for whatever that's worth. We're going to get one of the experts on coming up in just a minute. Captain George Ricks joining us next on the program. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Yeah, you right. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
River Cities Total Maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
I have the Tango, I have Gallo, I have Canary, I have Garlic Rain, I have Easy Red, and I have Melatonin, I have is a banana. I have pineapple. I have spinach. I have cauliflower. Sweet potatoes, hard potatoes. I have Corey Johnson on the radio. Sometimes he makes sense, so listen to his show.
I got mangoes. I got peaches and plums.
Wow. The late, great Mr. Okra trucking around New Orleans. What do you mean sometimes, Mr. Okra? Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday afternoon. I've had this guy on the program a lot, or in the past, I should say, not a lot, but in the past a few times. Knows South Louisiana waterways as well as anyone, including what we're about to discuss, Barataria Bay. Captain George Ricks is with us again. How you doing, Captain Ricks?
Fine, Corey. How are you?
Doing very well. Thanks again for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
How long you been doing this fishing thing down in Southeast Louisiana?
Well, over 50 years, but I've been guiding for 25 years.
Wow. What was here 50 years ago that is not here at all today? I'm going to bring up an example. Like, what is it, Fort Proctor, the castle out there in St. Bernard?
Yes, Fort Proctor's right. That's at Shell Beach.
When you were a kid, what was that like? You could walk to it?
Well, when I was a kid, yes. Actually, before they built the Mr. Go, MRGO, there was a road that went all the way to the end.
To the end.
It is now.
It went to that fort.
No, it didn't go exactly to the fort. Bayou Wyclosky. Was on the other side of Bayou Wyclosky.
But the fort was easily accessible, and it was on a chunk of land, right?
Yeah. It sunk quite a bit over the years.
Yep. No, it's just one example. A city boy like me's bringing up that, been down there a handful of times fishing, whatever. And you've seen a lot of land loss and things that aren't there anymore, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah, we're sinking into the Gulf. It's not just subsidence, they say, but it's sea level rise also.
Yeah, a double whammy, no doubt about it. Plus what man's doing. We're visiting with Captain George Ricks, Mid-Barataria Basin Diversion Project, billions of dollars, Captain Ricks. I'm for using every tool in the tool belt. I'm sure you're into using all the tools in the tool belt. Why are you opposed to the diversion? Fill us in on why you're against this diversion project.
Well, 10 years ago, I founded the Save Louisiana Coalition, and we were based mainly on fighting the diversion issue, because I've been around the Carnarvon diversion since its inception in 1991, and I've seen what Carnarvon at 8,000 cubic feet a second has done to the waterways and to our seafood and fishing industries when it's operating. So, I can only imagine what 75,000 cubic feet a second is going to do.
What did Carnarvon do?
Almost 10 times what Carnarvon is.
Carnarvon's not building land?
No, what they're saying Carnarvon has built, it actually was pushed in there from Hurricane Katrina. It was land that was lost, in fact, because of the Carnarvon diversion. Land was pulled up and rolled up like a carpet and placed in the Big Mar area by Hurricane Katrina. And they're kind of taking credit for that land coming from the diversion, which is absurd.
So you just now what were the adverse effects of Carnarvon for the local fisheries in that spot?
Well, as any charter captain or any recreational fisherman will tell you, when that diversion is operating, we have no fishing. The fresh water, the river water, just displaces the speckled trout, displaces the shrimp. And it's operated only at a minimal. Carnarvon was actually designed to be a salinity control structure. It wasn't built to build land. They claim the difference between a freshwater diversion and a sediment diversion. A sediment diversion is different than a freshwater diversion, but they both utilize river water.
Right.
And as we know, as anybody has seen, in 2019, when they opened the Kaare spillway, but it was 143 days, it caused the governor to declare a $258 million fisheries disaster. What a lot of people don't know is that we killed more dolphins. More dolphins died during the 2019 Kaare spillway opening than during the BP oil spill because of the river war.
Now, 50 years ago, Captain Ricks, was first off, Barataria Bay is what, brackish?
Barataria Bay is actually fresher water than what they want to than on the Carnarvon side on the east bank of the river. Lake Cotahuasi and that area is more of a fresher water environment than on our side of the river. Don't
the bottlenose need some salt? Isn't that why they're there? Because it's not fresh. It's sort of brackish, or no?
Right. Listen, dolphins are right. They can't tolerate fresh water. So what an estuary is, let's go back a little bit, Corey. An estuary, you're talking about the two most productive and largest estuaries in the world. You're talking about the Breton Estuary and the Barataria Estuary. And what an estuary is a nursery ground. It's that delicate balance of river water and salt water that we need to be the nursery grounds to reproduce all of the seafood that we depend on for our fishing industries and our restaurants.
Yep.
So without that delicate balance, you can't. That's why they're in the river you catch catfish and bullfrogs, but you won't catch speckled trout. You won't have brown shrimp. You won't have oysters. Oysters, especially oysters, need a certain salinity to survive. They need between 6 and 20 parts per thousand of salt water to survive.
Now, when you were a kid, were there any bottlenose dolphins in Barataria Bay? I would think there were not.
Yes, there were.
Okay, there were. Okay.
Yeah, listen. And a lot of people say, let me get this out of the way right now. A lot of people say, "Oh, the dolphins, they can swim, they can get away from fresh water."
Well, no, they're stuck in that spot where they are.
Right, they're territorial. They tend to stay where they're born. It's just like you being reluctant to leave your home during a hurricane. Even though the water is hurtful to them, they're reluctant to move. We saw that during the spillway opening. They develop lesions, and they get infections, and they die because they can't take constant exposure to the low salinity river water. Especially, you're not talking about a babbling brook. You're talking about the Mississippi River, the second most polluted river in the continental United States. Drains 31 states and 2 Canadian provinces. Let's face it, not to be rude or crude, but you flush a toilet in Illinois and we get it down here.
No, I was just talking about that with our drinking water.
And you know how many toilets there are between Illinois and here.
And that's a good point. Even if the diversion goes through, how much marsh and wetland type filtration does that river water go through before it hits Barataria?
Listen, anybody that doubts the impact that this project is going to have, all they have to do is read the executive summary, the environmental impact study on the Corps' website for this project. It tells you about the adverse effects of this project. I don't know about you, but I have a problem when somebody tells me the effects are going to be permanent. There's going to be permanent adverse effects to brown shrimp, permanent adverse effects to oysters, permanent adverse effects to dolphins. They tell you this in the EIS for this project.
But aren't you building the coastal
restoration, Corey?
What's that?
Coastal restoration.
I'm sorry. What'd you say, Captain?
I said we all want coastal restoration.
Yep.
You know that we need land built back, but we don't need more water to do it.
Isn't Neptune Pass an example of what they're trying to do, but just naturally?
No, Neptune Pass is actually the Corps is taking steps now to close.
I know, it's unbelievable. They're spending all this money. I'm like, why don't you dredge right there if that's the problem? Why are you putting up a rock wall when it's building land?
Most definitely.
It's unbelievable.
We have a project right now. It's ongoing as we speak. The Lake Bourne Marsh Creation Project in St. Bernard Parish. we're building 25% of the land that they claim they're going to build with the mid-barrier Kaare diversion in 50 years. We're going to build it in 3 years at 4% of the construction cost.
But that land, you have to constantly keep adding land. It's not a permanent solution. That those things where you're moving, sand or sediment, it usually washes away, right? Just because that's what it was doing originally.
Well,
you have to maintain all that, right?
I'm sure you've been to the lakefront of New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
Okay, where UNO is, that land was all Bucktown. All of that was built with a dredge.
Yep.
It's still there.
Oh yeah, of course. Yep. Yeah, they put the seawall out and pumped all the water out, and from Allen, Tucson, Old Robert E. Lee to the lake, you're right, filled it all in. Army bases, Navy bases, all that. You're right.
Still there.
Yeah, it's all flood protection.
There has to be some maintenance done on coastal areas.
Yep.
Yes, but you're talking about computer modeling. Listen, a project of this magnitude has never been done before. It's all been done on computers.
Yep.
They're claiming in 50 years, they're going to have a net of 13,000 acres that will be built.
Yeah, well, they're saying about 21 square miles. And you know better than me. I think Plaquemines is about 500 square miles. Hey, Captain George Ricks, hang on. As far as land, hang on. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back with Captain George Ricks.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today, and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
What's your name? Putting in things.
Captain George Ricks is with us. Captain Ricks, obviously you've seen a lot of land loss. Levees have a lot to do with it. How do we, have the river do what it does naturally with the water and the sediment and do all the things everybody else like you are talking about? It seems like what I said in the beginning, we got to use everything in our tool belt, and the river naturally built Louisiana. Shouldn't we be going back to that model somewhat?
I'm glad you said that, Corey, because the problem, and a lot of people say that, but this is not the same river that built the Delta. I tell people this all the time.
No, it's about 60% of it, right?
No, that was a different river. The river that built the Delta, if you hear, there was General Duke DeLuca that stated this from the Corps of Engineers. There was a great glacier that melted, and the surge of that coming down the Alluvial Valley actually built the Delta. That was 3,000 years ago. This is a different river now.
No, I would totally agree, especially over time. I mean, and the country's different. The river was widening. It was ripping trees and whatever. Every year, 10 years, 20 years, every cycle, glacier melt, hurricane storms, floods, and it brought all that down. So obviously it's a different river. And then coupled with what I was saying, a good 1/3 of it goes to the Atchafalaya at Morganza. So yeah, it's different, but Neptune Pass is building land. This would build land. Carnarvon builds land. It seems like we have to use everything. You disagree? We don't have to have some holes in some levees?
Do we need the sediment? Yes. Is there still sediment in the river? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Not the river that built the Delta. But yes, we need the sediment, but we don't need the delivery system of the polluted Mississippi River water. You have to look at what you're going to get for what you're going to give up. And is it worth it? And in my mind, Louisiana just can't afford this project. It started out in 2012 at $272 million, and now it's up to $3.5 billion.
Yep.
It's billion with a B.
Yep.
What will it be in 5 years when this
completed?
Project is completed?
Yep.
There's going to be construction delays. With inflation, what we're looking at, it could be $5 billion by the time they're finished.
It just seems like if we build barrier islands back up. I mean, I used to joke you should be able to drive from off of Cameron Parish, like south of Lake Charles, almost to Biloxi on the Gulf. It almost should be all those islands connected. I know that's a joke and beyond fantasy and it'll never happen, but islands that exist need to be built up. Islands that are underwater that did exist need to be built back up where they're above water, recreating all these islands. You do all the moving of the sediment like you're talking about, not through the river. You get a bunch of planting of marsh and cypress trees and all of that. Isn't your kid or your kid's kid not going to be fishing and oyster fishing and where you are in Barataria Bay today? Isn't it all going to continuously change?
if they build this diversion in 5 years, my children won't be fishing in Barataria Bay because it'll be river water.
Well, answer the question I asked, coupled with the diversions. Won't that just move the fisheries further out? You're fresh, brackish Gulf. You're creating marsh. You're creating land. You're increasing the size of the state. You're increasing those estuaries you mentioned that are like the laboratory where the birth takes place. Get on all of that, Captain Ricks.
No, you can't, Corey. You can only push the salt waters out so far. You can't grow oysters in the Gulf of Mexico. Like we spoke earlier of an estuary, that you need this delicate balance of fresh and salt water, and you can't get it in driving it out to the Gulf of Mexico. You can't go further. To part of the mitigation money, they're giving like $25 million for marketing of what? Of a product you're not going to have. People say that all the time. Oh, you just gotta have to go further out. No, you can't go further out. Further out to do what?
Well, to reclaim what was originally there from the barrier islands in.
You listen, Corey. People say, a friend of mine when we first started this fight years ago told me, the state of Louisiana can't balance a checkbook, and yet they're going to try to build land with water.
Right.
Think about it.
No, you're right.
Trying to build land with a controlled flood. It's what it amounts to. Louisiana just can't afford this project. You're talking about what makes Louisiana what it is. People are seeing it right now with the crawfish situation, the price of crawfish. What do you think the price of shrimp and the price of oysters are going to be?
Aren't those things just going to move to a different spot?
They can't. You're eliminating an estuary. They already say, in fact, the environmental impact statement points this out. During the operation of this project, it's going to turn the water totally fresh in Barataria Bay.
Yep. No, it will.
All the way to Grand Isle. All the way to Grand Isle. And not to mention, we've touched on maybe a little bit on the dolphins. The dolphins in 5 years are going to be virtually extinct.
No, they would all be gone. You're totally right.
Yes. So, I mean, listen, there's other ways of doing this without harming our resources, without killing the dolphins, without economically killing these coastal communities like Plaquemines and St. Bernard. And one of the reasons why Plaquemines is suing right now is because this project is actually going to increase water levels.
So
a coastal restoration project causes a flooding issue.
When I hear you talking about there are other ways to do it, I think of what Arab Emirates and that the World Island, the Palm. You're talking about dredging and building land where where it's open water.
Look what they're doing in Dubai.
Yep, Arab Emirates, exactly. That's what I was talking about. Yep, yeah. No, with dredges made in Louisiana, some of them.
And keep your resources, keep your shrimping and your fishing that Louisiana is noted for. Listen, I say this all the time. How can you put a dollar value on a culture and a heritage? You can't do it.
Hey, Captain Ricks, I might have a little ammo for you. This is a wild one. Tell me if you agree or not. I don't think many people are thinking about it. The state owns the lake bottoms, the river bottoms, the bayou bottoms, all that, right?
Right,
Right. Anything in the state limits, right?
Right.
And if I go do some project and I mess up 5 acres of marsh, the Corps is going to make me recreate 5 acres somewhere else, right?
Right. They call it mitigation.
Okay. All this dredging they do in the Mississippi River, taking river bottom land that is Louisiana's sediment, and they just dredge to clear the shipping channel, and they let it go over the continental shelf into the Gulf. By law, shouldn't they have to put that material on land or in Louisiana's boundary in a marsh or wetland? Don't they? Instead of just pouring it into the river where it flows into the Gulf, they're removing Louisiana land because a ship can't pass, and they're shooting it into the Gulf of Mexico instead of into our wetland. You think there's any traction to what I'm talking about, or not at all?
Right. That's partially true, but the Corps of Engineers does have a what they call a beneficial use of dredge material.
Some.
Program.
It should be all. It should be all.
Right. You're right. It should be all.
Put it on barges or direct pipe and pipe it however many miles where it needs to go. We've been doing this forever.
Right. The Big River Coalition has been making use of some of that dredge material, and they've built a whole lot of land down, in Southwest Pass, on the edge of Southwest Pass and all. They built a lot of land using that beneficial use of dredge material.
Exactly. They're sticklers about you wreck 5 acres of wetlands, you better replace it, and I agree with that. They're ripping up acres and acres, tons and tons of material, and just letting it go out in the Gulf instead of leaving it in Louisiana.
I agree with you, and I've talked to the Corps about that very issue, and what the Corps has told me that they have funding for dredging the river, but they don't have funding to
send it somewhere.
Use material to barge the material upriver.
Yeah, it's easy to pick up trash and throw it over your shoulder. I can put trash in the back of my pickup truck, and when I get home, it's not there, But actually utilizing it is a different story, I think. They're just throwing it away. Anyway, Captain Ricks, I love having you on the program.
Anytime, Corey. I appreciate the opportunity, and anytime you need me, you give me a call.
I will. That's Captain. Hey, Captain Ricks, real quick, how would somebody get you if they want to go fishing?
Oh, I own and operate Getaway Charters out of Hopedale. They can call me at 985-630-2923.
You got a website or no?
I have a Facebook page, Getaway Charters.
Yeah, there you go. Getaway Charters on Facebook, Captain George Ricks. Thanks, Captain Ricks.
Thank you, Corey.
That's Captain George Ricks joining us on the program. Go check it out on Facebook. Wet and rainy. Tomorrow looks like more of the same, but like 65 to 75 all week. I like that. Nice March weather. Sewage and Water Board. I think they're testing Turbine 4, the old bad boy Turbine 5's online. I guess they're ready to handle the rain. I think 93 or 96 and 99 pumps are going. Should be okay. Need to do this for another year and a half. When it's really going to get crunch time? February 9th, 2025, Super Bowl Sunday, New Orleans, Louisiana next year. Please, no rain. Forget about the turbines. Let's just have like a 2-week drought. Sunny and wonderful weather. Coming right back. Don't move, New Orleans, Louisiana.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center. It's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center. 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you. It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday afternoon. The city council reportedly has not heard from Mayor LaToya Cantrell. They had a noon deadline today. Mayor, you got to get out of the Pontalba. Noon Monday, give us your game plan, like how you're going to do it. It's going to need 2 weeks, going to do this, da-da-da. Let's hear the game plan. Never heard back from the mayor. So J.P. Morrell says, clear out your belongings and turn over the keys by this Monday, a week from now. You've put it on us, so we're taking control, and the deadline for a timeline of leaving the apartment and turning over the keys was noon today. You blew us off. So we're just going to take it in our own hands. And now the deadline is, March 11th, a week from today. We're changing the locks. Get your stuff out or it'll be on Storage Wars next season, I hope the guy and the girl, the couple, I hope they win that stuff. Anyway, wow. I think there's like several Storage Wars. I landed on the Detroit version of the Las Vegas pawn shop thing. I love the Las Vegas one where like the guys that run the pawn shop are telling you history. Like they know it and they studied it. Back in 1411, this was like, you don't know any of this. Just reading the cue card. I don't need to hear it from Chumsley, my history. I'd rather that drunk history show. That was great, fact-based and entertaining as hell with great actors and a lot of people drunk. It's funny as hell. I don't know why that went away. I guess they're like, I can't drink this much. Anyway, the source is important. Drunk history. Boy, that was good, huh, Joe? Why'd that go away?
I had a couple of friends who were on Drunk History, a couple
fantastic.
of comedians
It's
who were on there,
hysterical.
and
It was
they
great.
enjoyed it. Yeah,
I mean, the actual fact-based historian that knows their stuff just hammered telling the story.
Actually, like some of them, they would just get comedians to really research a subject.
That's great.
Because my friend Dave Ross was on there, and he said, I researched for 2 weeks
Oh,
straight.
of course. I bet. No, it's great.
But, as they get drunker, it gets looser and
No,
looser.
exactly. And then the actors mouthing what the drunk guy's saying. George Washington said, damn it, we're taking the land. You're not going to go get roast beef po' boys later. It's just like, what? Oh, boy. Anyway, Corey Johnson with you. JP Morrell saying, get your stuff out. Get your stuff out of the Pontalba by Monday. The U.S. says Israel has agreed to the framework for a Gaza ceasefire, 6 weeks. Hamas's decision now, it's in the terrorist hands. I think they're going to green light this because Ramadan starts Sunday. It's a holy month in the Muslim religion, and it's a very, very important month in the Muslim religion. And I think that the timing is pretty good. It's 6 weeks. Like they agree now. It's a few days before Ramadan, and the ceasefire would end a few days after Ramadan. They'd get the entire Ramadan holiday in. And then the United States and NATO and a bunch of other allies can bring in food and medical supplies. I mean, there's been 20,000 women and children killed in this war in Gaza. And you can justify it. What would the U.S. do? Israel's wrong. Israel's right. It's the only way to fight it. It's Hamas's fault. Whatever. I'm just telling you the result. 20,000 women and children killed. And they're like babies that have starved, like dozens and dozens of children that have starved to death and eating all kind of crazy stuff. So I don't know if you saw that beach scene of what are the C-110, what are the C-10, whatever they are, the big, some military, get damn Corps, don't even know the damn plane. The C-110 cargo plane, whatever it is, just, the guys rolling off the rails, those big old pallets, and just parachutes dropping them down on this like beach. I guess they were trying to catch it on the edge of town, so it couldn't just be everyone coming from every direction. And, a lot of violence, stampeding, people killed. But no, there's a lot of suffering in Gaza. Well, they elected Hamas. Yeah, we elected Edwin Edwards. Come on, Not trying to say they're the same thing. It's just, you can't just, because they elected somebody. I mean, 51% to 49. I don't know what the overwhelming, whatever. A lot of people don't like Hamas. And that's one thing you Palestinians have to embrace. You can't just be like Palestinian, Hamas. I'm really not going to say they're bad. America, Nazis. I'm going to say they're bad. You can't. You've got to totally dismiss Hamas. You can't take anything they say. No one in the real world is taking what Hamas says as real. Has Israel lied in the past? Has America lied in the past? Of course. We're talking about a terrorist organization, Hamas, Hezbollah, all the H's. Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis. Sheesh. Getting tired of learning all this Middle Eastern geography and different tribes and wear you out. No, the humanitarian aid in Gaza, and Netanyahu, boy, just plummeting popularity in Israel on both sides. A very popular general who's like a Netanyahu supporter, but different party. I think Kamala Harris is either going to Israel or they're meeting somewhere with this kind of what would be a political opponent of Netanyahu. Corey Johnson with you. Boy, the 4 o'clock hour flew by. I want to thank Captain George Ricks for joining us, talking diversion projects. Coming up next, what's that, Blue Boy? The 5. What is it, Fox? Oh, the 5 o'clock power hour. You're right, Blue Boy. Excellent. Stick around.
On the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became number one for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic port of Port.
I want to know how the millionaire was a millionaire, making decisions like, yeah, Skipper, Gilligan, that looks like a good boat to go on. And the professor, he's supposed to be very intelligent. Now, Ginger, okay, boat, get it. Marianne, smart. I really have problems with Marianne, the professor, and Mr. Howell. I really do. I don't get it. You really have to suspend disbelief on that one. Not as bad as Roadhouse. I watched 10 minutes of Roadhouse the other day. There's some Midwestern universities that have an entire semester class breaking down the Roadhouse movie.
It's my wife's favorite movie, by the way.
Joe, if you use the, hey, vodka rocks, why don't you and I get nipple to nipple? That line works every single time with any woman on planet Earth. First, you call them vodka rocks. She just walks, she's like, I have a vodka rocks. And this drunk is like, hey, vodka rocks. Why don't you and me get nipple to nipple? Just like, wow, great line, dude. Congratulations. You're going home with no one but yourself. Your friend's not driving you home. It's called the bus. The bus driver's not letting you on the bus. Wow. My favorite part, Joe, of Roadhouse, some people's all-time favorite movie, besides beautiful, The Doctor. I love The Doctor. I love the whole premise. The highly educated surgeon dates the bouncer at the bar. It is beyond like porn. It's like any man has a chance. The bouncer at the bar can date the surgeon from Oshner that's cutting open people's chests and removing a heart. Just like it's beyond fantasy land in every way. And then pain don't hurt. No, pain does hurt. Stapling it. Pain don't hurt. And then I'm a doctor who went to Harvard and pain doesn't hurt this guy. And that really is a positive for me. It makes me want to date him. Not that he's read those books I've read. Or wants to go to the opera, the plays I like. I went to Harvard. He can take pain. Now, the best scene ever, Joe, the greatest scene ever in the movie, the last scene where they kill the guy finally and like 3 cops in suits come in. It's like, where the hell have you guys been? A big truck went through the Ford dealership, rolled over a bunch of new cars right through the middle of the dealership, blew up Red's hardware store, blew it up. I mean, where have you police been this entire movie? Your boy drives the Mercedes into the guy's front yard and blows it up. No police. None. People dying. No police. Then at the end, the final scene, 3 cops in suits come walking in. Yeah, talk about suspend disbelief. Joe, one of your favorite old spots, Tracy's, is in the news. Well, the new owner of the old building is calling it Tracy's, while Tracy's is moving down the street. So it's just kind of, now it's got to go to trial in order to, I don't know, someone's going to decide, a judge. There's lawsuits, I think, now. And you know what the end result's going to be, Joe? The old Tracy's that the guy's calling Tracy's are going to be called Losers Bar and Grill or something in the future. I mean, I don't understand people. I really don't. Seriously. Like, the Tracy guy, it's his bar. He called it Tracy. I don't know what's named after. Wife, dog, mom, girlfriend. Tracy's, his bar. Like Joe's or Corey's. Ran it for, I don't know, 15 years in that spot. Has a problem with the lease, whatever. He's leaving. He's going like 3 blocks down Magazine. The new Tracy's is opening. And then this guy, who took over the lease, is calling it Tracy's still. So they'll fight over it. And like I said, it'll end up being called Losers Bar and Grill. I just don't get stuff like, did the rights to the name lapse and this guy pounced on it? I don't think so. I think Tracy still has the rights to the name.
I believe, speaking to Jeff, the owner of Tracy's, last time I was there, they got the name because it used to be an old bar called Tracy's.
Okay.
And he got the name from there. So I guess this new person is saying, well, it used to be Tracy's before him, so why not?
Well, yeah, it was also Latin Club and Alexander's and all kinds of stuff. I remember it was Latin Grocery or whatever it was 30, 40 years ago, you know? I don't know, Joe. I don't get that whole mentality. Like So I believe the Tracy's people still have the rights to the name. You're going to spell it differently or block letters instead of script or something. I just don't get why people come up with another name. Cheese and Pete's. The real Tracy's is down the street. Everybody's going to know that. What are you doing? Like, what are you trying to get away with? I don't get it.
It's just fostering ill will towards your bar by the locals immediately.
No, and you're not exactly, and you're not getting anything you're not getting the bartenders, the food, the recipes, none of that. That's all going down the block to Tracy's. It just seems great. Look, I don't have any, whatever the in the hunt, game in the dog in the hunt, whatever it is. Yeah, I don't have a dog in the hunt. Well, totally at home. Better correct myself. He could be watching on TV right now. Good boy. You can go anywhere, buddy. But I put those pillows on top my blanket and pillows where I get in the bed, because that's the only place I don't want you, where my head goes and body under the sheets. But you can go anywhere else, on top the bed, on the sofa, anywhere. Do not knock over the garbage can and take advantage. I don't get that. But yeah, there's some little dispute going on with Tracy's and the name down the street, but they'll figure it all out. And I don't understand people sometimes. I understand, like, hey, there's value. There's 500 of these restaurants, all that. We're buying the name. Well, that was part of the deal. You bought the name. I get it. Darden, I think Darden, the wonderful folks that bring you Olive Garden and all you can eat salad and breadsticks, bought New Orleans' own, or once upon a time, now it's Orlando's own, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, the Darden Group. They bought the name Ruth's Chris. They bought all the recipes. They got everything. Getting very upset with the Darden Group, Joe. Look, when Ruth's Chris has had Leidenheimer French bread for my entire life, and now they switched to some, I guarantee you, probably from California, sealed in its own plastic wrapper, sending some 4x4 foot cardboard box with 100 loaves in it. They're frozen. You pop them out the plastic and you stick them in the oven. It's crap. It's garbage. Now, the beautiful thing about Leidenheimer French bread, you can freeze it. And when you pull it out and stick it in the oven and reheat it later, it comes out like fresh from the Leidenheimer bakery oven. Absolutely incredible. No, I didn't mean to bring in a local restaurant that used to serve Leidenheimer and doesn't anymore, but I had to because it really disappointed me. Really did. I used to get like a 3-course meal there. I'd get like this chicken, a salad, and some mashed potatoes. And the bread and the butter, the room temperature butter, was free. And that was like a 4th course to me. Now the meal's sort of ruined. It's a little pricey, and I'm not getting high-quality Leidenheimer. Seriously, it's kind of... I got the meal again. I was like, don't give me the bread if it's not Leidenheimer. I'm not kidding you. I thought they ran out of Leidenheimer and hey, that's all they could get, and they wanted to give me bread. The next time I order, I'm like, hey, dude, don't give me that. You're back to Leidenheimer. Don't give me that stuff you gave me last time. Oh, sorry. This company, they buy it all in bulk, and no, there's no Leidenheimer now. So I was like, that's crazy. Talk about wreck a restaurant. Leidenheimer Baking Company. They've only been doing it since 1896. The bread New Orleanians love. Leidenheimer French bread, the official French bread of New Orleans. Joe, call me picky, call me snobby, call me whatever you like. I'm not a fan of President's Choice ketchup, America's Best. I got to have Heinz. They just have some funny aftertaste at the end. Not a fan of that. I mean, even Raising Cane's are like, Chick-fil-A has Heinz ketchup in the cool little thing too. Yeah, it's not the packet, it's the peel back thing. You can squeeze it out. You can use a little dip tray gimmick. That was the greatest invention for Heinz ketchup. That's just kind of the American standard. It's high quality. It's good. It's inexpensive. It's ketchup. It's like, what did the restaurants save over the year? Seriously. We saved $400 on the year going with America's best ketchup. And then instead of French's mustard, we're using President's Choice mustard. We saved another $300. And then instead of Blue Plate mayonnaise, we're using, the Governor's Select. And it's just not good. And we saved $1,000 on the year. My advice to you, get out of the restaurant business. Wow. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday, a wet and rainy Monday. Be careful driving home. A little bit of this tomorrow, but good news, 65 to 75 all week.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore led us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Served in New Orleans' finest restaurants. Leidenheimer French bread.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet. Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 airy locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com. Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Young's Dry Cleaning. Let's be quick. You want to experience the best dry cleaner in the city. Young's has been doing it since 1940. 84 years of excellence. Fourth generation. Go see my boys Dale or Don. Young'sDryCleaning.com. I've been going to those guys for about 30 years. My mom, like 50 plus. Young'sDryCleaning.com. Young'sDryCleaning.com. Wet and rainy afternoon, more of the same tomorrow, but nice temperatures the rest of the week. I think some pretty nice March weather. The Sewage and Water Board says they're testing turbine number 4. The steam-powered one, looks like that one, circa 1915, will be back online. Turbine 5, gas-powered from 1958. It is working, so should be good with this rainy weather. Hey, if you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed a lot. A good 25 minutes with Captain George Ricks talking about the Mid-Barataria Diversion Project. I'm for it. Captain Ricks, who knows a lot more about the fisheries, that part of the state, Southeast Louisiana, those waterways, all of that. He's a pro. He knows it for 50 years. He has a difference of opinion. Thought it was important that I would bring him on the program. I'm going to get Billy Nungesser on, another Plaquemines Parish boy, and see what he has to say about it. But he's against the diversions, too. And then I'll get somebody maybe like Bob Marshall from the Times-Picayune or someone that's pro-diversions on. People that know a little bit more about it than I do. But I'm just like everybody else. Try to take in as much factual-based information as possible. Get a consensus from both sides, see what they're talking about, and then come to my own logical conclusion, not based on black or white or Republican or Democrat or this or that, but just kind of where the facts lead me, in my opinion. I can be right, I can be wrong. It's not no guarantee that Corey's always right, that Corey's always wrong. Just how I go about it. I'm lucky that I'm not bogged down with, is it a liberal thing? Is it a conservative thing? Is it a black thing or a white thing? I just kind of go where it goes. So I'm pro diversions. I'm pro everything George Ricks wants to do. I'm 110% for. But I also want to do the diversions on top of everything he wants to do. Now, I mentioned something that I think is legitimate. Louisiana owns its water bottoms. That would include the Mississippi River. The Army Corps comes in and dredges our land, the water bottom, and basically just spews it out onto another side of the river, knowing it's going to flow into the Gulf of Mexico. It's not going to settle back down. Some of it does, but a lot of it just flows off the continental shelf into the Gulf of Mexico at the very end of the river. All lost. Most of it lost. No, when the Army Corps dredges by law, I mean, the Army Corps makes you knock out 10 acres of wetland, you have to restore those 10 acres of wetland. You have a project that's going to knock out some wetlands, you have to rebuild them somewhere else. So, I mean, the Army Corps is kind of breaking their own rules. They're taking our river bottom, the Mississippi River, to dredge, which is fine. We're green lighting that. We want ships to be able to freely navigate the Mississippi. But instead of just spewing it to another side of the river where some of it settles and some of it flows into the Gulf, they need to either barge it and bring it somewhere else or run long pipes, which they've done. They do right now. The Army Corps does put a lot of dredge material onto wetlands and marsh and trying to build that up. It needs to be every single grain of sand, every grain of sediment, especially when you knock out 10 acres of wetlands, you have to restore them. I'm 110% for that. Should be you knock out 10 acres of wetlands, you got to do 20 more. But if that's how it is, and I agree with that, then the Army Corps shouldn't be dredging our water bottom, the Mississippi, and just disposing of a lot of it. They should be spewing it via pipe, spraying it all over southeast Louisiana. Should just be permanent pipes all over the place where there's going to be dredge, like a dredging depot where they bring the barges down, unload them right back up to where they're dredging. Barges to unload them right back where they're dredging. A bunch of spots. Not a grain of sediment should be flowing into the Gulf. It's ours. It's Louisiana's water bottom. The Army Corps, the feds they're breaking their own rules. They're going against their own regulations. And no one's thinking about this in Louisiana. Captain George Ricks liked the idea. He's going to mention it to his guys. That's our sediment. And the Army Corps, all for dredging. You just got to move it somewhere else. The city council reportedly has not heard from Mayor LaToya Cantrell, and today was an important day. It was the deadline for a timeline from the mayor of leaving the apartment, the Pontalba apartment, and turning over the keys. That deadline was noon today to come up with the plan. Hey, city council, it's Junkie Cantrell. Look, y'all, I got a van coming next week. I got these moves. Give me 2 weeks. Give me 3 weeks. Whatever. Council, I'm sure, would have said, fine. 3 weeks. Instead, the mayor did not respond. So J.P. Morrell says, clear out your belongings and turn over the keys by this Monday, March 11th. Or we'll go in and change the locks, and you can get your stuff maybe on the next Storage Wars show or something like that. The United States says Israel has agreed to the framework for a Gaza ceasefire just in time. I think this is really great timing. Sunday starts Ramadan, a month-long major holiday for Muslims. Hamas's decision, it's in their hands, the terrorist group's hand. I think they're going to accept this ceasefire for 6 weeks. And the most important thing for me is the Palestinians in Gaza that are dying and suffering, that they get the humanitarian aid that they need, that this crisis can be squashed. And then Hamas has to come to their senses, or Israel's going to continue 6 weeks from now in eradicating that terrorist organization, which they should. I mean, I don't know. If someone's like, my whole life is to make sure Corey doesn't exist as a person, I don't know. I don't have any enemies, but that person would probably be my enemy. The Supreme Court ruled former President Donald Trump can appear on the Colorado ballot. I think that's a good thing. If you're a Democrat or a liberal, you should embrace this decision. Because if Donald Trump, first off, Donald Trump, anything he does, anything he says, anything that's done to him, good or bad, it only makes him stronger amongst his base and gets his followers, people that like him, going out and they're going to vote, and they're going to push other people to vote. So I don't know if I'm a Democrat or a liberal. I want Donald Trump on all 50 states ballots. I don't want anything that would be perceived as nonsense or partisan, or I would chill on like the lawsuits and stuff right now. None of that's going to, man, Trump was found guilty of this, I'm not going to vote for him. I don't see that. I don't see that. I don't see a lot of good in November. I mean, it's vote for the old guy or the second to oldest guy. It's just not a good situation. Who knows what's going to happen between now and then? Who knows? But I think we should just have an election, see how the American people vote. It seems like Democrats and Republicans that I know are equally scared. Oh, man, Biden's going to get back in there again. Oh, my God. Boy, 4 more years of Trump. Oh, my God. It's a Monday afternoon. Hey, I was running air conditioning today. It was like 77 in my house. Literally, 77. And then a few nights ago, I was running the heat overnight. Sometimes you don't have to run the unit at all. If you have heat or air conditioning needs, River City's Total Maintenance is there. Every day we broadcast live from the Buddy Diliberto River City's Total Maintenance Studios. River City's Total Maintenance. For over 30 years, honest air conditioning and heating experts that come immediately. Find them at nolaac.com. nolaac.com. Adios, TV audience. Hey, radio audience. Oh, so fine. 93.9 FM. Maybe you're checking us out. CoreyTalks.com. Maybe on YouTube. Live streaming on YouTube. Click to subscribe to our fledgling YouTube channel. We're trying to build that bad boy. Click to subscribe. Don't cost nothing. Yeah, the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on YouTube. It's another Martell Monday. Brett Martell just a few minutes away. Yeah, Captain George Ricks joined us in the 4 o'clock hour. I'm for the Mid-Barataria Diversion Project. I think it's going to get started back up. It will resume. George Ricks, Billy Nungesser, a lot of folks that know those waterways, the fisheries, Southeast Louisiana, they are against the diversion. A lot of folks are for it. I'm for using every tool in the tool belt. Rebuilding barrier islands, moving sediment through pipes, building up land, building up marsh, planting marsh grass, planting resilient grasses, cypress trees. And I'm for river diversions, having the Mississippi do what it is intended to do. We've levied it off. We've funneled it down. All that sediment just being piped into the Gulf should be spreading all across Southeast Louisiana. Boy, wouldn't it be amazing if we can get an Israel-Hamas ceasefire and maybe during Ramadan month, these terrorists with Hamas get some kind of pseudo sensibility in the least amount where at least they get out of Dodge, bail. But then you've got Netanyahu who's not into a two-state solution. And hey, New Orleans, you black folks or you white folks, one of you's got to go. Or do you work together? We didn't work together. Before I was around, it was total separation, essentially. Very few people intermingling amongst the races. And then every decade, every minute, every second, every minute, every hour, every day, it gets better and better. It's not getting worse. It's getting better and better all the time. But there was never hey, black folks or white folks, one of you's got to go. So I don't know how, I say I'm Syrian Lebanese because the city or town I'm from has been under Lebanese control, Syrian control, Lebanese control, Syrian control, all different kind of folks, and not even Syrians and Lebanese at certain times. So Israel, Palestinians, that first, it's sad. Israelis and Palestinians, like, we're all related by DNA, very, very much related by DNA. Like, I'm not going to say Palestinians and Israelis are the exact same. They're pretty damn close. I don't know who's closer to Palestinians, and I don't know who's closer to Jews than Palestinians and Jews. They share a lot of the same DNA. They're a lot the same people. You can look at Palestinians and Jews. Can you tell the difference between a Palestinian and a Jew watching on TV? Olive skin, black hair, many of them. Some are blonde, blue-eyed. Many olive skin, black hair. I don't know if that's a Jewish person, Syrian, Lebanese, Iraqi, Saudi, Jordanian. I have no clue. No idea. No, it's just sad. It's been going on way too long. And you've got extremists on both sides. I'm not trying to compare Netanyahu to Hamas. Hamas are pure terrorists. But Netanyahu is an extremist. Go look up video with Kill Rabin being shouted at the rally and Netanyahu's at the microphone smiling, like almost egging it on. He didn't start the chant. Some clowns in the audience did. But as the chant got going, Rabin wasn't pulling like a Joseph Gow locally or a John McCain nationally and going, whoa, 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 put on the brakes. That's not right. He's smiling and kill Rabin. And then some extreme Jewish folks killed Rabin. And you had basically those Oslo Accords where Palestine and Israel, two-state solution, they were very close. But then you get the opposite. I mean, Bill Clinton, liberal Bill Clinton, we basically gave the Palestinians everything. The West Bank, Gaza, Golan Heights. That's not enough. That's Bill Clinton saying that. So it is a really, really sad, pathetic, heartbreaking situation. 20,000, it's estimated that 20,000 Palestinian women and children have been killed. 20,000 women and children, and another 10,000 men, and many of them, terrorists. But 20,000 women and children weren't terrorists. It's just sad. So maybe a 6-week ceasefire, which puts Ramadan in the clear. The month of Ramadan, it'd be, if Hamas accepts this in the next 48 hours, 72 hours, it'd be a few days leading up to Ramadan of the ceasefire, the entire month of Ramadan, and like a good week after Ramadan of a continued ceasefire if Hamas agrees to what has been going on in Egypt, this international group that's trying to get this done. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday. Hey, why aren't you at Katie's right now in Mid-City? Why aren't you at Katie's right now in Mid-City? LSU, men or women. It can be Pelicans basketball, Premier League soccer. MLB's about to crank up. They got a lot of flat screens at Katie's. But Katie's is not, I repeat, not a sports bar. Are you kidding me? Katie's is the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. That means a taste of New Orleans. Old school, big portions, great for sharing. New Orleans specialties. Iberville, corner Tallahassee, in the heart of Mid-City. More is better, more of the good things. Why aren't you at Katie's right now?
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore led us to you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center. It's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria. Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, a little George Porter and the Runnin' Podnas. I'm fortunate. I live in the neighborhood where George Porter lives. I'll be walking Tolley and George Porter will be right there. I've told this story before. It happens all the time. Happens about once or twice, maybe once a quarter, every other month. Hey, man, how you doing? I don't say George or Mr. Porter. I just go, hey, man, how you doing? He goes, hey, man. And then he says, hey to me and kind of nod and walk by. I might say something like, you playing anywhere soon or something like that? Yeah, I can play on Saturday night, whatever. And just keep walking with my dog. And then once George is out of earsight, out loud, like some other neighbors might go, that Corey's talking to his dog out loud. I say, hey, Mr. Tolley, how often do you get to walk by someone that's one of the greatest at what they do in the entire world? It's like an astronaut or something. It's like the greatest at what they do in the entire world. So when I see George Porter, I tell my dog that. Doesn't happen very often. You get to walk by someone who is the very best at what they do. Speaking of, oh, no Brett Martell yet? That's a good thing because there's probably someone somewhere that does a better job than Brett. I love Brett. Brett does an excellent job with the Associated Press. He's probably been at it. I shouldn't say he's probably been at it. He has been at it over 25 years. Another Martell Monday. Brett Martell's joining us in a segundo. Wet and rainy. Tomorrow, more of the same. But then the rain kind of goes bye-bye. At least I don't see like sunshiny days on the old weather.com website, but no rain and like 65 to 75 for like the rest of the week. So that's kind of nice, especially in March. And also, it's kind of nice with this rain today, tonight, tomorrow. The Sewage and Water Board, they're testing Turbine 4. Turbine 5 is supposedly running. So they appear ready to roll to sop up that agua. It is another Martell Monday. Brett Martell joins us from the Associated Press. What's up, Brett?
Hey, Corey. Just driving in the rain right now.
Yep. Be careful, Brett. Both hands on the wheel.
Yeah, I'm in New Orleans West.
A.K.A. Metri?
A.K.A. home of traffic.
Yep, home of traffic, lots and lots of traffic. Excellent work, Brett. That's why we brought you on. That's it. Thank you so much. See you next week.
All right, Corey. It's been real.
All right, Brett, let's do this backwards today instead of jamming this in at the end. How can folks check out the stuff you do for the Associated Press? And what do you do? What have you been doing the last 25 years for the Associated Press?
Right. Well, I started my career as a general news reporter who covers the state legislature, some disasters, bridge collapses, court cases, you name it, prison hostage crisis, all that stuff, and moved into sports full time. And well, of course, I covered Hurricane Katrina. I don't want to bury the lead there. And then and Rita that year. I was in the middle of both of them, the long month or so. Moved into sports full time in 2006 when the Saints came back, and Sean Payton was in his first year as an NFL head coach. Drew Brees was on his second NFL team, and his first year on his second NFL team, and I've been doing sports ever since then. Nowadays, you could not back then, but nowadays there's an app on a smartphone that's free. It's called the AP News app, and it gives you news from all over the world, including sports. And there's a search function, and so you can put in your zip code and get news from your area, and that's how you can see a lot of my stuff if you live in New Orleans, which I assume most of your listeners do. Of course, my stuff appears in publications all around the world. That's kind of how my company works. You know, it's a not-for-profit cooperative to supply news from around the world to various local outlets that need it.
Brett, there's some folks that write for the AP, other outlets that cover certain regions, cities. I'm sure they don't deal with like a lot of winners. And then there's some that, you know, probably you're lucky where they're in like a championship city where multiple championships by teams in different leagues have won. You've ended up doing pretty well. You just mentioned Peyton and Breeze. LSU was Saban to Miles to Ogeron, national title runs, all of that. The Pelicans, NBA basketball back in New Orleans, the Hornets then. You could do a lot worse. Toss in LSU baseball and you could really do a lot worse. You've been fortunate where you've got to cover a bunch of winners, and now it's Kim Mulkey and Jay Johnson and Sumrall at Tulane and the reemergence of that football program. You're doing all right, Brett.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. I've covered the Saints winning their only Super Bowl, and I've obviously covered the LSU Tigers winning 3 out of their 4 national championships. And yes, the return of the NBA to New Orleans. Now it's been here over 20 years, except for the couple years in Oklahoma City. And so yes, it has been quite a run and very interesting.
Hey, Brett, Kim Mulkey at LSU is clamoring for a new arena. She wants a new arena. She's being heard because she's a Naismith Hall of Famer. She wins a ladies' national championship for the LSU Tigers in year 2 at the program, way ahead of schedule. this Baton Rouge LSU combo arena idea, would it be built downtown? Would it be built on campus? Basketball team, volleyball team won't have full-time access. It's not pure LSU. It could be part of the city. $300 million. I don't see that going down. I think maybe a redo of the Raising Cane's Centraplex River Center, whatever they call it now, in downtown Baton Rouge for conventions and some minor league sports. And I think LSU having their own basketball arena on campus for LSU sports, not for Baton Rouge conventions. I think that's going to be the route. I don't see a $300 million facility being built shared by Baton Rouge and LSU. What's your take? I'm sure you know a little bit more about it than I do.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, there's multiple models you can look at. Obviously, Louisville went with that model, right, for the Yum Center.
Yep.
And you can debate how well that's worked out for the Cardinals, but I haven't heard too many complaints in that regard.
But a different school. I mean, Louisville is an urban campus. It's, they Louisville gains from Louisville. LSU doesn't gain necessarily from Baton Rouge. I mean, you know what I mean? Like LSU's its own entity. Louisville's part of the city of Louisville. LSU's sort of its own thing. And I'm not dissing Baton Rouge. It's different.
So you could argue that LSU gives more to Baton Rouge than it gets back.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I just think LSU's its own entity, sort of, and Louisville needs Louisville to boost that university. I think that's why that university, especially athletically, has risen the last few decades because of that partnership. I think LSU's its own thing. They don't need Baton Rouge for an arena.
Right, I see what you're saying. Sure, and I mean, the Maravich Assembly Center, its location is really convenient. I think I don't know how difficult it would be to either raise it and build new on that site, or to gut it, or to gut part of it, and kind of retrofit some premium seating in there.
Yeah.
But you think if they could kind of upgrade basketball, the basketball experience within that same footprint on campus, it would be best scenario.
Yeah, there's talk of, I don't know, you maybe moving Bernie Moore Track Stadium across the street. You build the new arena there. Then when it's open, you tear down the old one. You maybe play for a year at the Centraplex, the River Center, and tear down the PMAC and build a new one within a year. I think Ole Miss spent about $100 million on their 9,000 seat pavilion in Oxford. So I think LSU for, $150, $180, they could build one hell of an on-campus arena, and then that other $100 million or plus could go to the River Center and make that exactly what they need. I don't see the reason for the combo gimmick. And LSU, the on-campus experience, Brett, I don't think the Tigers want to lose that. I don't think Louisville, you brought that example up. No one cares about the Louisville on-campus experience. You kidding?
Yeah, there's a good point there. So, I mean, obviously it would be ideal. The footprint of the PMAC is a big footprint. You can put a modern state-of-the-art arena within
easily.
It's like a large bowl stadium.
It is. You could put two arenas in that footprint.
Yeah. So those are all interesting. Yeah, those are all interesting options. And probably the one that makes the most sense would be, to just to either gut it or tear it down and have the team play in another arena in Baton Rouge for one season.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
be great for that season, but it's doable.
I think more of, the New Orleans Pelicans want a new arena. I think LSU basketball needs a pavilion, a field house. And I'm not saying skimp on seating, premium seats down low, suites, but a field house, college feel more than an arena. Anyway.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you there. But definitely something that would work for volleyball and gymnastics and all those things.
Hey, Brett, the Pels throw 48 points up on the board against the Pacers in the first quarter. 48.
A little unusual.
To say the least, huh?
Yeah, I mean, look, they've got some elite shooters, and when those guys are having great nights, it's a lot of fun to watch, and that was Ingram's night. So it seems like everything he threw up went in there. What was he, like 9 out of his first 11 or something?
Yep, exactly. I think 9 of 11.
And so, it shows you what the potential of the team is. And it was a good response after they had kind of struggled a little bit against the same team on their home court to come back and really throttle,
Yep.
So they keep teasing the fan base with these extraordinary performances, but then turning around and laying eggs against some of the elite teams every now and then.
Well, that I think's the problem with the Pels. I think that top 4 in the West seem to be in their own stratosphere. And then the Pels seem to be, they could be potentially the 5th seed or the 6th seed. They're that good, but they still seem to be one level away. They got to take another step forward to drop into that top 4. Am I right or wrong, Brett?
Yeah, they need another step. And, they are still young and building chemistry. And Zion, let's face it, he hasn't actually played a lot of basketball in his career.
Yep. Literally.
This is the most he's played really since year 2. And maybe, maybe he's never played in a playoff game. So this team is still evolving and still growing, and there's still hope for them. But they do have to take another step by playoff team. And so they've got about a month or so to work that out. And we'll have to see. But, it won't be the greatest season in franchise history unless they win a second round series.
I think the Hornet Pelican organization has won 7-game playoff series win. They've advanced to the second round before, but in the Hornet days and maybe even the beginning of the Hornets in New Orleans, the first round was best of 5, if you remember, Brett. So yeah, I think they've only won one best of 7 in their history.
Yeah, I think they beat Dallas in 5 games back in 07-08, so the spring of 08 playoffs. And then they lost in Game 7 to San Antonio. And then, of course, they swept Portland in a 7-game series, 4-0, during the Anthony Davis era.
I think that's the only one. I think the Iverson, I think they beat Philly. I remember one year that was like 3-2 as a 5-game or, something like that. I think they've got one, at the most 2, but I think it's just one 7-game playoff series win in the history of the team. Charlotte or New Orleans.
That's correct.
Charlotte or New Orleans, which is crazy when you think of, Larry Johnson and the Charlotte teams. But anyway.
Right.
Hey, Brett, New Orleans Saints, usual deal. Just push back the credit card payments till next year. Always in cap trouble, always get out of it.
Yeah, and the thing is, they do it there. Look, Mickey Loomis, the one thing you can argue a lot with maybe some of the personnel decisions on his watch, but you can't argue as much with the accounting because his background is in accounting.
No, I think the two C's, caps and contracts, he's pretty damn good with those.
And I think that every contract that he has a player sign, it has these options, these various things built in. He's thinking about, how much maneuverability those contracts when they're very first signed are going to give him in subsequent seasons.
Yep.
And he does it in a kind of a fair way where usually it benefits the player as much as it benefits the team when they change those, restructure those things.
Yep.
You always hear about restructure. You don't hear a lot about pay cut. You know what I mean?
No, the opposite. Maybe long term, but the opposite. Up front, they're getting a big chunk, and a few million to restructure. So they're happy to put that money in the bank, Hey, Brett, we got about 15 seconds. Sean Payton in Denver not bringing back Russell Wilson. Never drafted a viable NFL quarterback. Never, Drew Brees was already pretty damn good. I'm not saying he didn't make him better, but this is the real, legacy test in Denver for Sean Payton. About 10, 15 seconds, Brett.
Right. And look, jury's out on how he's going to do on that. He struck gold on Drew Brees, and since then, not really. So it'll be an interesting story to watch.
Brett, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
That's Brett Martell, another Martell Monday. That's Blue Boy barking up a storm. I'm hungry, want to go for a walk. Even though it's raining, I'll put on my booties. Oh, brother. What else, Blue? Tell everybody thank you, thank Joe, and see you tomorrow straight up 4 o'clock. Good boy, Blue Boy. Good boy.
Shh. You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.